My name is Gloria. I'm the face and voice behind Allure Alchemy. You're listening to my podcast, Soulosophy, which is philosophy from my soul. And I thought today I want to explore spirituality. The obvious choice is spirituality. That's one of the reasons Allure Alchemy was set up, to explore spirituality. As I learn more, as I interact more, as I'm exposed more, and constantly all this exploration and research and all this, and the uncovering and all the downloads, whatever it is, it all come together and give me each time there's a newer understanding. But I remember when I first set up Allure as Alchemy. Okay, for those who don't know me, I have a team of lights that works with me, meaning a team of spirit guides, of angels, star family, different dimension beings. But they're from the divine. I only work with divine. I work with all divine regardless of faith. There's a second tier of it. So immediately I have a team of lights that I work very closely with, and of course in the wider scale I can able to converse with any divine beings of any religion or faith. I do not differentiate, neither do them. So what it is because of my background, which I'll expand on in a bit, and I was looking, and I knew that I have to talk on this subject. I knew that I have to explore, which I began earlier as I come on Facebook. I know there will be a slightly different angle that I'm covering and information I'm sharing. And it all got to do with the background, the geography, location of where I am in the world. I'm based in Singapore. Singapore is in Southeast Asia. And we are a multicultural country. So we have all the mainstream religion, Christianity, Catholic, Taoism, Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, all these are the main one we have. We also are very tolerant for with all the rest of the unconventional, untraditional faith forms. So we have all different people from all over the world. So naturally, you can understand the multiculturalism, how it come about. But from earlier on, the government took a very strong stance on being very tolerant. So as a citizen, as somebody who grew up here, the benefit of it is I was exposed to all forms of culture and religion and faith. So we could have a church next to a mosque, a temple, or even house in the same building on different floor. And we have an effort of all the major religion leaders. They have very, very regular meetings. But I think in general we are one of the most tolerant countries, but not just tolerant, we live in harmony. We have an effort of just mixing around with each other. So because of that background, naturally all the religion more or less have a bit of knowledge. But I began with Taoism. I grew up in a Taoist family. Now this Taoist is not what the Alan Watts Taoism. Alan Watts Taoism is correct, is the pure form. In our Taoism is the pagan style of Taoism, even though we only call it Taoism, but then in actual it's paganism kind of Taoism, because why? It involves rituals. Alan Watts one is just a philosophy. The origins of Taoism is philosophy. But in Han Dynasty, in ancient China, Han Dynasty time, they adopt Taoism and Buddhism and kind of institutionalize it and form it into a religion, because the empire, Han Empire, loved it. So a lot of you can say a lot today with the practicing ritual and all this, it all came from there. In terms of we use joystick, we use offering, there's a certain structure, a certain formation to it. Even though it's kind of a religion, that the institutionalized of it is not like Christianity or what the reason that you have to study in this school to become a priest. It doesn't form like that. But because of my Taoism background, which we do not believe in a one God system. Right? There is different deities and different gods. Of course the meaning of this God and in the Christian God to me is totally different, in my point of view. So I do not and I'm not getting into form that whose God is bigger than whose, because to me that doesn't make sense, and I do not agree, and I do not condone any form of this kind of discussion as well, because I think it's silly. Because up to today, I have my own discovery and my own experiences, and all I can say is the divine beings, because I work with all divine beings from all the faith, as long as they're divine, any faith, whenever I need to be involved in the situation, I will go and communicate with them, whether it is through a form of channeling or going to a place of institution or a place of worship. And so from the divine being's point of view, and it's not just my own words, but there has been scripture that's written about things like that. From a divine being point of view, they will present themselves in any form to us human beings in order for us to connect back to them. Simple as that. That is why we have different form of religion, belief. So there is no difference. If today it could be as simple as, okay, you are more, you like the the Christian faith more, they will come and present to you in that form. If you're somebody who are more Zen-like into the Buddhism, they will come and present to you in the form of Buddha. Down to even they can come and get somebody to come and speak to you. If you're more in the mood of listen to somebody from a ministry, or somebody who is just a Joe Public, or the old lady that's mending the corner shop, they will present itself in that way. That is how it works. So why are the divine beings so interested in getting us human beings to connect? Because after all, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. So as spiritual beings having a human experience, wherever we get, at this point we are incarnated on earth, we will still need to have a certain direction, because in each incarnation, okay, I just give you a example. Each time we incarnate, whether it's different whatever dimension it is, or whatever planet it is, they have this so-called the natural law that is happening there. So on earth is what 3D plane. So there's a certain natural law that involves here, the 4 seasons, the way the time works, from cradle to grave. There's no Benjamin Button, we don't work backwards, right? There's always a going forward kind of stuff. But the density on the 3D plane and everything, because it's tactile, it's tangible. And only if we're born as a human being with a consciousness in this 3D plane on planet Earth, then can we experience the full technicolor spectrum of emotions, desires, feelings. You cannot experience this full 180 pendulum desires of the highs, the lows, and the lows, on anywhere else. If you go lower than 3D, then there are all a lot of negative, heavy kind of emotions. If you go higher, it's all positive, it's good, but you may ask, then why do we need to be on 3D plane? As I explained in the first episode of the podcast, is that is the nature of it. In order for it to be in this 3D, it exists in that form, 3-dimensional. So it has this full form of it in order to solidify. It's for us to experience. That is the formula of it. But in the other higher dimension, we are in higher vibrational form. That means we only exist as a light being. So when we only exist in the light being, the things that we experience is almost instant manifestation. But you do not need manifestation into physical form. It's just a thought, it's just a feeling. You want to see it like a physical thing, yeah, you can. It's like a hologram. But you do not, it's not like 3D. Here we buy a handphone, we hold a handphone, we can feel it. You can feel the solid. You can feel that in here. You cannot feel it elsewhere in the higher realms. And that is the reason that why in this 3D form is all a fantastic experience. It's wonderful experience. But at the same time, it can cause a lot of confusion to us, because we are spiritual beings. When here is such a, if you like, it's like walking into an amusement park. You know, with the way, as sometimes you may come across the BBC Planet Earth documentary, just talking about nature, just talking about the animal kingdom, just talking about, you know, in the ocean, the life forms and all this alone is so diverse, and yet they're able to coexist. It is a really magical world. You think about it, there are all different forms that can exist, but at the same time, if we break down each of us a life form, whether it's a plant, an animal, or human being, when we break it down, it's like, you know, go onto the surgery table to be dissect into each organs, each body part, down to each cell, each DNA. How all this able to come together and it functions perfectly? That is magic. That is 3D. That is planet Earth. That is the experience that we have here. It's very, very, I don't know, can I use that word convoluted? It's very, very expensive and very, just one whole mystery. And yet it's magical, yet we can experience it. But we can very easily, as you go into any amusement park, the light, the sounds, you know, and everything, there's a lot of distraction, there's a lot to capture your attention. We can get lost in it. So when we can get lost in it, a lot of time while we're having fun is good. But then we'll hit a point that when we're low. It's just like, again, going to amusement park. You got a certain amount of money, you enjoy all the rides and everything is so good. And you start playing, you know, to try to win the stuffed toy. And you keep losing money, and in the end, you know, you kind of like, it dampen your spirit. You know, if you lost the money, you can't, you overspend it or whatsoever. You got into a fight, you know, over something, or you had a fall or whatever thing. It's easily get distracted. And when you have just fun, and there's no purpose, like in an amusement park, you can very easily think that what is the whole point if it's just fun. And so that is why there's the high and the low. In order for you to experience the high, experience the low. When you experience the light, you need the darkness. So for us to very easily get lost, there is a need for some sort of a compass. That's where the divine being. If you know, not to say that those people who do not believe, whether it is the universe, whether you can consider there is an unknown force that is guiding. And it is each time we are all when we are here, or in any incarnation, we are explorers. We are, each time we incarnate is to explore that place. It's infinite, right? Because of the way that how it past, present, future is all the same time. It's different from what Earth time is. So each time there's an incarnation, you know, in this form, in that form, the variation of it is infinite. So each time is an exploration to find what? To find the perfect experience. What is easily already been achieved 45, 60 years and above. They're all the very good experience, but there's no physicality, there's no tangibility, it's not tactile, it's only light forms, it's only a thought, a feeling. It's instant gratification, really instant, because you think, I remember when I was incarnating in 3D, I have ice cream, I love ice cream, and that's it. You manifest it. But it's only a thought, right? You're a light being. You can think about how the taste, you remember and everything. It's a knowing, it's a remembrance and everything. And that's it. And that is why, you know, in each dimension there's a different ways of being come together. What is the best place that can experience all? And 3D is like a test bed, that with all this that we can get to experience all these wonders in physical form. But then at the same time, it does impact on people's emotion, because you have the desires. How are you going to manage that? You know, and that is where we need this moral compass. And this moral compass, in a way, is a collective consciousness kind of moral. You know, it's not please do not take that word as like, or is it in the religion kind of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not, or what. These are common sense, with or without the book. It's common sense. It's human decency. If we're born as a human, if we're born in another planet as an alien, that is another alien decency. That's it. These are common sense. You do not harm another person, another living thing, without any writing, without anybody telling us. These are common sense. But why do some people can get lost in it, even though it's common sense? That's why you need a moral compass. So in any form, whether people who are atheists, but they have very strong awareness, that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong. As what the divine beings point of view is, as long as you have and you connect to the higher source, we are there. You want help, come to us, we can guide you. That is the whole point of it, and that's all. So that the thing is, animals, plants, let's talk about just 3D planet Earth only. Animals and plants, they have a natural rhythm that goes with the law, a natural rhythm of Mother Gaia, right? It just, that's when it grow, when in, what animals, which time is the mating season, the migration season, and all this thing. It's just natural that it will happen like a clockwork. Yeah, there may be some days that are off, but it's naturally there. Human beings, we used to operate on that before we have all this invention and whatever revolution and everything, but then we lost it. Nothing wrong with it, because we have higher consciousness, and we are higher intelligence. We are supposed, with our abilities, to develop, to invent, to explore, to do things that is going to take us one step above, so that it's the bridge between, how we can bring heaven on earth. That is the whole point of us exploring and inventing and everything. But while we're doing all this, our sleeping hours, the way that we function, everything is out of rhythm. So whenever it's out of rhythm, naturally, the body is still functioning. In case some people are not aware, our body still going by the biorhythm, but then we stretch the limit. I'm guilty of it, right? But it's like at 11 p.m. if you sleep, your liver will naturally detox, and you can't run away from it. You can't alter it at this point in time until certain scientific invention can do it. But because of all this, we are not in balance with the way the world, the cosmic work. So sometimes we get lost easily, and whenever there's a planetary alignment, instead of we go with the flow, everything is just either contradicting or conflicting, clashing, causing a lot of different kind of reaction. And because the different emotions climax, and people just, as you as you possibly experience, the people who don't have enough sleep or don't have enough, or if you're hungry, as simple as that, they easily get into argument, right? So okay, you imagine something like that, when you're imbalanced and every day you got all this, and that's on the smaller scale. On the wider scale, we have people put in position of power and influence, and they can agree to go and start a war. I mean, I don't understand how that can happen. That is, I think, us as a collective, we have to. It's time for us to review things like that. Why are these people in position of influence and power, that they are very eager to destroy in order to teach somebody a lesson on iPhone? I mean, we have evolved. Mankind has evolved. War is backwards. And in the past, we have various wars at various times, but in World War II, isn't that we have trial? Even though Hitler took his own life, we have trial on those key members, key players. I mean, in recent time, do we do things like that? A few of them put under trial, but what about it? It should be, the whole mess. I think in the current time, there's a lot of confusion, and there's a lot of, as what they propagate using the medical term, which I do not disagree, but I think there's a wider issue for us to discuss, which is the mental health. So the way the surpass everything is that we all have, each of us have our ability to connect to the divine. So through spirituality or through religion, it doesn't matter. When we connect to the divine, it's there. How often when we face our time in time of trouble, we will want to connect to them. We will want to a prayer, or we think about that. Even the person who is really don't believe in any religion or whatever, say I'm an atheist, but then the person have maybe an uncle or a grandma that passed away, and you ask them, what about if you talk to your passed on loved one, and they will be quite willing to talk to. It's the same. They are included. The passed on loved one and the ancestor, they are included in all this. They're all there to guide us. So it is this that we are in this 3D, we have to explore it on our own. But we all have the ability to connect. How do we go into learning or connect? There are a few ways, of course, like each of us, sometimes we grow up in a family. Let me just start with the traditional way. We grow up a family of whatever faith it is you go, right? That is already the beginning of our study. Each time in our point in life, you'll come across various people or various articles or various video, YouTube, whatever, materials. Anytime that you get an interest, that you see something that you're interested in, and you decided to look into it or watch the video or something like that, that is already, you are trying to connect. And let me say, the you is your soul guiding you. We can, through prayer, right, in the traditional form, right, when we grow up, before we know all this, before awakening, how do we do? We just do what we were taught to do. We do the prayer. That is a form of connecting. But our prayer is not really communicating, it's just prayer. It's almost a mailbox, a message. What I discover, which I'll go into another episode on that, but when we connect to our soul is our inner guiding light. Our soul, as the inner guiding light, is like a GPS system. Once you're connected, okay, the GPS system, you can read it very easily already. And what is the purpose of our soul? Right, is to link us, a few purposes. One is to link us to our higher self, to be able to connect us to divine. And at the same time, it's like a Alexa Siri. You will find out information for us. It works two ways. So it can receive, it can also go and search. And what do I mean by that? Okay, let's say today, for some reason, you suddenly felt that you saw this video and that's all you know about, and you thought that's interesting. This religion is very interesting. Let's use a religion for example. And so that's interesting. I want to know more about this religion A, for example. Just that thought of your serious thought that you want to find out, your soul already start looking for information. Your soul will start sending out signals, to be, okay, I want like religion A, religion A. And all this you suddenly start to find, in the coming weeks, there will be materials, there will be people talking about this. It will naturally come to you, or even when you research, it's very easily come to you. Because that's the way that it was, right? The divine will find all ways to connect to you. So yeah, through that. When you're connected, your soul, this is very easy. Not that say you don't connect, your soul don't do anything. It's still constantly. In fact, from birth, our soul is really trying to connect, trying to get us to connect to them. They are always there, yes. But once you're connected, it's like as I said, it's your personal GPS. You can read it, you can instruct it like an Alexa. It just works like that. You find that you're very, very, in a way you can say guided, right? So it is working like You can say like an in-between in a way, because that is how information comes to you. You're able to spot synchronicity and all this. These are all our soul's conversion. Our soul speak in the love language of intuition. So that's one way of connecting to the divine. So the traditional way, before we were awakened, before we know about this, what do? We do prayer, right? But then when we know the awakening, or people who go into start doing their own meditation, all these things, these are we connect to the divine ourselves. And that's what they say, like spirituality. Spirituality is through our own ways. The reason why I do not differentiate between spirituality and religion, which I want to say, is that to me there's no difference, because like I say, they're all connected to divine. The only difference is in the middleman and institution. Spirituality, there are also groups who are into the spirituality thing, but then they institutionalize it, and they have all sorts of rituals or discipline that go into it. That is almost like a religion. So no, but then you also have some religious group that are more free form, and they operate kind of like very spiritual. So that is why to me there's no difference. It all depends whether there's a middleman or an institution involved. Even though if there is a middleman or institution, there is nothing wrong. We don't really, once you are awakened or connected to your soul, you'll be guided. You'll be guided. At a certain point, you may be in contact with certain of these so-called middlemen, whether the middleman is somebody who write the book, or the middleman could be a priest, the middleman could be a medium, the middleman could be somebody who work in the institution. It doesn't matter. The point is, whether or not we will come into contact with them, we need to learn from them, or we will be guided. That is the whole thing. At a certain point, we may be guided to learn from them. It could be through a video or through an online thing, streaming thing that we watch. They are not. Okay. I want to correct this perception that many in, I'm not saying all, but many in the love and light community, because of their own bad experiences with religion and of certain group that they have within their states or whatever, they will say that it's bad. I do not disagree that there's some use very strong hand tactic, or maybe use kind of words that it doesn't promote love. It's a bit bigger. It's a bigotry way of looking at things. I do not disagree with that. However, I would like to say that a specific group or negativity aside, the key is all these people are there because they believe in it. They experience it. There's nothing wrong with it. Right? They're all doing so-called the God's work. It's almost like you go to a handphone shop. If you are the one who is selling iPhone, you're not going to try to sell me an Android, right, if you believe in iPhone. Right? So if they themselves don't even believe in their own faith, then they are not even convinced. They are not able to convince us. So obviously they themselves have experienced the goodness of it, and that is why they are there as a spokesperson. So we have to understand that each of us got a path. Some go into religion, some go into a spiritual path. There is no difference. But if they try to divide people, then it's on that individual, because it is not the words of the divine. It is the middleman who tried to write something else into the book, or the middleman who stood in front of everybody else and preached something that is not from the divine. The divine doesn't divide us. Otherwise, why are we born such a diversity of different skin color and different religion, different race, different part of the world, different demographic? The diversity alone can tell us that there's no one single that guards everything, and there's no one single rule that rules everything. Otherwise, we would have born a single color. That is the truth. So regardless of it, please do not demonize all these middlemen, whether they are priests, whether they are just some workers, they are people who write the books. They experience it. But if they spread words of hatred, we can disagree with them. That's all. We don't promote them. We don't agree with them, and that's it. So anyway, in terms, coming back to the spirituality, once you get shown certain material, let's say as I say religion A, suddenly at a certain point, you'll find that you get very bored of reading it, or you start to disagree with all the materials that you start reading and watch. You just find that I don't understand, I don't disagree, I totally disagree, or you have a point of annoyance. That's where you stop. And then the next material will come to you, maybe immediately something new will come on that captures your attention, or you maybe leave a quiet period for a while. These are all guided. Once you start the journey, you can't run away from it. You may have certain period that is, that is empty out, but then there's a certain period you will come back into it. Depending on our soul's evolution, sometime in one lifetime we experience different, many different religion or faith or stuff. Some people stick from one to the end. So it's all up to our soul's evolution. So do not think that, okay, I only experience one. Is there something wrong with me? Or I've tried so many. Is there something? No, there is no rules. There is no rules as long as it's on the collective consciousness of love. When love and respect for each other, we live in harmony, we choose peace. That is the whole point of spirituality or religion. Everything promotes on love. So I do not agree with, as I said, I do not agree with some of this information or some of the personal testimonial. I understand they all have their own experiences because of the certain groups that they live in a small town or certain big cities. They enter certain institution and they have certain bad experiences, 1 or 2 or 3 or their friends. It's natural to be that way because you come to Singapore, it's a different story. If I may be able to do this kind, it is different experiences. Sometimes it gives you a different kind of exposure, and all I'm saying is because I come from a Taoist, which we don't believe in a one God system. So eventually I also come into a serious understanding of Buddhism, and again is not on a one God system. So I'm able to, we believe in all forms exist. So I'm naturally very open-minded and agree that a tree, a plant, they all have consciousness and they all have their own evolution, which I can talk about this in other episodes if you are interested to find out that do they gain enlightenment. There's a certain way things involved, and also without going too long into this episode, but it talk about the awakening process. Everybody, there's more or less the similar thing, but everybody will experience it differently. Because why? It depends on the soul's evolution. Okay, so that means through all the different lifetimes that we have, that is our soul's evolution. So some souls are more advanced, experience certain things. Some souls are not that advanced, experience certain things. So like all this, the standard one is what the dark night, all the soul and all this. But some people say I don't really experience it. It's possible. You may experience it, but you're able to cope better. But so you don't feel that I'm not like them. I give you a personal experience. I went through those. I lost my husband in the year 2020. Prior to that, we were already, between us, husband and wife, we have a good relationship, but the external world was very harsh on us. Almost everything, was like, if you like, was really, we're holding the fort. It was very difficult to survive in terms of the various policy changes. Everything we're fighting the matrix world. Red tapes and bureaucracy, if you like, and all sorts of pressure that comes, people's drama and everything. But eventually when my husband was diagnosed with cancer and he passed on, I don't really use the word pass on, I use the word crossover, but pass on is for you to understand, because I don't think sometimes I mention crossover, some people don't understand what do you mean by crossover, but so when he crossed over, I have a different realization and different understanding that the world is not what is traditionally presented, and that's why today I come to this finding that which I just share with you. So the awakening process is like when I went through, even though there's a dark night of the soul and everything prior to that, and again when he crossed over again, that happened again. I do not experience, like some people say, that the world to me is, I see it in a positive change in the spiritual realm, if you like. The spiritual, that means afterlife, how us in the mortal world as well, the perception of it, as well as the afterlife, how it's different from my understanding. I do not have like, because a lot, if you don't mind me, a lot of people who had a shift, a huge shift and huge difficult grasp of saying that why that they say that my world totally changed, I never see it that way, because a lot of them, if you don't mind me, come from a Western society, that you're grown up in some sort of, whether it's a Christian faith or a Catholic faith, that kind of environment. I'm not saying that it's must, but a lot of them come from that kind of environment. So your understanding is only that one God system. So suddenly when you see other things, or you start to read about other things, it's almost like this is a different world, and you thought, oh, then what I used to believe is wrong. It's not wrong. It's real. It exists. It's not wrong. You know, it's just that because a lot of the spiritual thing that we understand today, which is also not wrong, that it is the same as Buddhism belief, or a lot of it is from Buddhism belief. And of course, those who are more into the Hinduism and Sikhism can say that, yeah, it's also from their belief. It's true. There are a lot of similarity in terms of incarnation, karma, how it works, and all these things. That is where whether you call it inspiration, because whoever started it writing or what, but then that is the way it works. Now then, we for those which I myself like to reflect on, because I'm an explorer, just to quickly cover, which I will expand it, if you're interested, I will expand it in other episodes, that how do we then, those who believe in the light beings, that means that eventually when we pass on the afterlife, okay, now we know that we connect to the divine beings. If there's angels, right, if there's spirit guides, but then we are light beings, so are they lights or are they shaped in as a human? And what about us when we incarnate? What do we incarnate to? How does it happen if we are incarnate to other realms, other planet? How is it all going to happen? Are we going to be in that form or not? You know, are we a starseed or not a starseed? What are we amoeba or what? Do you understand? I had this question that I thought that, okay, there are a lot of things that we can answer, but there are some things that there's a gap. It doesn't make sense. So I explore into it. So and of course, how I work with my team of light, I have to learn by myself first. I'll ask them if there's something that they can show me, but I have to learn. I have to walk the path. So things that I've shared with, especially even those with human experience, psychology, life experiences, is I personally have experienced it, or I have a great deal of observation or study, research on it, then I can talk about it. And anything that's on spiritual, again, I have to learn, I have to experience it. And if anything that's not within my experience as a human being, I have to consult them to know that that is in their truth. Of course, as I say, in each of us, we have our own path. You may have your own spirit guides that says different things. You may have your own belief system that believe in other things. It is okay. There is nothing wrong. Because ultimately, there is no such thing as mine is the correct and you are the correct. It's all exploration. We all trying to make sense of it. But the whole idea is, how are we going to be able to live as in harmony and take it each time we evolve. That's it. That's the key. It's all very basic. It's just that if you like, we are having fun in this amusement park called Planet Earth, and we get lost by the sights and sound, and so sometimes we need guidance, and that's why we keep enjoying to come back here to learn, because there's a lot of fun here, because we can experience all the emotion and desire, and the physicality of it, which in the other episode I talk about. When you go further up, you experience all the higher loves, right? All the positive high vibrational love, but there is no sex. No, they say that it's important, right? But I've read a lot of articles. They may have their own experience. They come to that conclusion. I don't know. A lot of it has It's written by people that's no names for authors, so I don't know who the original are. But the thing is, when you reach a light being and you experience all the high vibrational thing, it's almost like celibacy. If you want, it's only a memory. You can have an orgy, whatever, it's a memory. It's a knowing. It's instant. It's flash and lightning. Just that. The physicality of it is only here. And you can see why the draw of coming back to planet Earth. So it is a heaven on earth here. It is a very fascination, a place of fascination that we all enjoy coming back. And we have to take turns, but of course, we get lost in it. A lot of them that you get so sucked into it. That's why we say that why each time if we are more awakened, as you know, each person in one lifetime can go through more than one awakening, and it is often that way. And we become more, the consciousness become clearer and clearer, that we can see the bigger picture, if you like. Then we say, okay, we do not do this, we do not do that, But before that, when I was young, I used to drink, I used to, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's just the natural, the way that it is. Yeah, so in short, just to conclude, this is a longer episode because it is a very, very wide subject. In short, there is no rules in spirituality. There's no rules in connecting to the divine. Divine, I mean that, okay, there are people who work with the darker forces. That is not within my scope to share. Do I work with that? If a situation, a divine needs me to mediate a situation, and I need to be involved, they will let me know that I'll be involved to mediate a situation. I do not work with them per se, but it's more on mediating any situation that sometimes we human beings get involved in, and then they couldn't untangle themselves from that, and then it needs to be, that way of but that is not my main area. There are people who are specialized in the darker forces, and when I say the darker forces, that means they are not from the divine. I respect that area to let them do their teaching to you. It's not something that I would like to meddle in, because that's other people's expertise, and that's not my area. So, but we are all able to connect to the different forms, and just know that we are all explorer, and we are loved, and we are protected if we allow ourselves to be that way. Do not be too tied up with rules and regulations. As I think these few years we all have went through what worldwide, globally, that kind of rules and regulation, right? So what more when we go into spirituality or any religion? What more do we want to be tied down to this? Only, okay, there may be books and scripture. Let me just say this. Okay, I have many conversations with many of these people. Some of them may come across certain kind of books to teach a certain kind of alchemy or certain kind of magic, certain kind of practices, and it's all to, a lot of it is to gain magic, okay, or for certain, and it all have very strict rules. Can I just say that, and I've said it to them before, but whoever is willing to, okay, I'm not forcing on, if you believe me, you don't believe, it's fine. A lot of these books, you must know when they were written. They were written at a time of many centuries ago. They were written for what? People who are going into priesthood, monkhood, nunhood, which means what? A lot of it involved very strict discipline, or celibacy, or all sorts. They can't eat this, they can't do this, they have a certain timing to do this, certain timing to do that. There's a lot of rituals, because it's to prepare them to be a priest, to be a monk, to be a nun. We are just human being, normal human being. Unless you are, that is your path, or you have an interest to enter into monkhood or nunhood, by all means. It's your turn, it's your divine calling, it's your calling, go for it. But if you're just Somebody will just work and you're into spirituality, but you come across the book, oh, you can give me this, I'm going to start. But then it gives you a lot of stress because you have to every day do this at 2 a.m., do that at, and I have to go and collect this rainwater, collect water. And then if it comes natural to you, it's fine. Spirituality should not be resistant. Anything that is a resistant is not the right thing for you. So that's why I say that all these spiritual books that come to you or whatever, it comes to a point in time you read, you start to get bored with it. Or you get annoyed with it. That is the resistance. That is telling you to stop. Enough. They will start showing you something else for you to study or to learn, to expose to. So in general, that is about it. And if any topics that you want me to expand on this spirituality, which I briefly talk about, if I know, I will definitely share. If I don't know, I will explore into it. And if, as I say, many of these things I will have to double check with my team because he's talking about the spiritual realm. There's a lot of knowing. My strongest is definitely claircognizance. I got very strong knowing from a young age. So that side of it, and I'm very linked up cosmically. So yeah, I think I shall possibly cover everything that I need to cover as basic as whatever it is. So yeah, so my stance is very clear. We are all one big happy family. It's true. And then we just there is that's why I call it the great unknown, the great mystery. It is there to guide us. It's almost like we're little explorers sent out where we need to hook up, right, to go and find out the map, right? We need to hook up back to the server. That is when we connect to our soul. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to do an episode on the soul because I myself reconnected and renewed to my soul, and my soul inspires me. And she's on fire. And I talk about it a lot. And I want everybody to know that you can find the fire in you again. I never quite lost it, but then it's been a tough, up to this point, it's been a tough a lot of years, but the main serious grind was the last 13 years. So just by reconnecting to my soul, it makes everything so much easier to understand. It's part of us. It's our magic. We are all magic, and we live in a magical world, and that's about it. So I hope that I'm helpful in any sense. If you have any question, drop me in the comments box or email me any suggestion you want, any topic to expand, whether this or the human experience, the psychology of it, which also I will definitely cover with something that I'm very, my personal interest and my exploration, and I have a lot of insights into it that I hope to talk about it. So yeah, the next time I hope you come back again and free your mind, open your heart, and explore with me at Allure as Alchemy. Thank you for listening to my podcast Soulosophy, and this is Gloria, and I'm signing out. Thank you so much for listening. Lots of love to you.